Welcome back to Pax Europiana here from St. Pölten, the administrative and political center of Lower Austria. That's the federal state of Austria, which basically they have elections now, and they had the strategy to block Schengen access for Bulgaria and Romania to rile up the people against foreigners, and that's something pretty unacceptable. I'm now walking back home to show you some of this beautiful administrative center. It's very brand new. Actually, that was a good idea. They do also very good things here in Lower Austria. It's not just that they are populist, protectionist, xenophobes and somehow anti-European to somehow play out between the Romanians, Bulgarians and whatever. It's very disappointing, because here the tradition of Alois Mock is held very high. He was the great European who has supported independence of Croatia, of Slovenia, of Bosnia. He was the man who brought Austria into the European Union, and he was very much a pro-NATO politician. He was a cold warrior, and I really respect and admire him, and will always do. The Lower Austrian politicians from his party, they always go to visit his grave to honor him, but at the same time they also do this kind of policies because they align with Orban and Vucic against the interest of the Romanians and Albanians, because Orban has the direct link to the Russian money. That's always important, and they admire him for winning the elections, and they think that the Austrians are like the Hungarians, and that with that kind of strategy you can win in this kind of I protect you from everybody else and the others are bad, and this kind of populist, protectionist, xenophobe policy is then a match winner. It's very disappointing for me personally, because I know many of the politicians here from my personal background, and they know very well that this is absolutely intolerable, unacceptable and anti-European. It's against European solidarity. I mean, we are at the moment at war with Russia, more or less. I call it a war, you can say we are not. And then, of course, the big issue is the security of the Black Sea. I mean, that's what it is all about, the dominance of the Black Sea. And then you might know that Romania, Bulgaria are the Black Sea, and they are really very important at the moment. And then the Lower Austrian here, Landeshauptfrau, thanks a lot for the best year's wishes, and they are slapping hard into the face of the Romanians, Bulgarians, who anyhow feel 15 years in the EU still discriminated and second-class Europeans, and in some ways they are, because we have not allowed them into Schengen, we have not allowed them into the Eurozone, we have not allowed them into the OECD, we, the Austrians and the Germans, and they have treated us, we have treated them quite shitty in the last 15 years, always blaming it was too early, all these populists, too early. In reality, they have 8 times higher GDP, 8 times. I mean, in 20 years, they went from no less than 37 billion GDP to close to 300. It's quite a performance. We have just doubled our GDP in 20 years, not a stellar performance, and they have not had the money to go big in terms of infrastructure, but they went low for taxes and they had good results. And they are now, the greater region of Bucharest is richer than Vienna in GDP per capita in purchasing power. Of course, they have some way to go to catch up in absolute prosperity. I mean, it's just 30 years after the end of the Cold War. Communism and prior underdevelopment, and the wars have left a lot of destruction in Romania and Bulgaria and so on. It was very poor countries when I visited them before in the 90s as a student leader. But now I will go back again. I will report you about the poverty I see and about the progress I see. Of course I cannot show you all. It's huge countries. But I will do that in order to make the point that the policy of excluding them is utterly crazy. And what's the big gain, you know? Anyhow, they will join Schengen and they know it very well in this year. And you know what was the whole thing? That you make the point that you are not European and then you win the voters? I don't know which kind of voters there are who fall for such a bullshit idea. It's for me absolute. I mean, maybe the people are all loving this protectionist, populist nonsense. Yeah. Is the Austrian voter like that? Okay, maybe. I lived 20 years abroad, I really don't know, but I don't hope so. So otherwise, you know, what are they? Anyhow, it's for me a bit of a mystery. But okay, maybe it works. The opinion polls show that Mr. Kickl and his extremist Russian-funded xenophobes are more profiting from that one, because he was just at whatever 22 and now is at 29, since the Austrian People Party great strategists have discovered that fighting foreigners is the winning match. I mean, this was an artificially, purposefully done strategy, both with Schengen, with the anti-Balkan and anti-migration thing. It was on purpose decided in the summer to raise the profile of Nehammer, who never should have. He doesn't have the capacity. You can put so much populism in him. He's not the guy who will